Finally, former prosecutor, Central Park 5 case settles lawsuit. All right, put up the picture full mass. Hell of a story. The individuals here who were prosecuted wrongfully when they were children, they're my friends today. I know them, I've interviewed them multiple times, hung out with a couple of them on occasion. In a Tuesday announcement, former Manhattan prosecutor, Linda Fairstein and Netflix settled a defamation lawsuit over her portrayal in the miniseries When They See Us. Now, this is so ironic. This is why, because people say, what about the statute of limitation? Well, it started back over when she did this docuseries about the exonerated Central Park 5. So the DA argued the 2019 series falsely depicted her as a racist, unethical villain, and misattributed actions and viewpoints to her. Now, this is quite ironic, right? Because she actually did do these things. She actually did engage in racism. She actually did engage in policy, selective policy bias. The evidence was there. It was clear. People coerced confessions. Her office knew about it. With millions watching and many people benefiting from this program called Indisputable, we just need 1% of the viewers to become a paid member so we can continue to bring this content to you. Now back to the show. There's more. Per the AP, the case was expected to go to trial later this month. She said in a statement that the decision to conclude this fight was not an easy one, expressing confidence she would have presented a compelling case to the jury. While the former DA will not receive any money, as part of the settlement, Netflix has agreed to donate $1 million to the Innocent Project, a nonprofit that works to exonerate people who have been wrongly convicted. So viewers of the series will also now see a disclaimer that states, quote, while the motion picture is inspired by actual events in person, certain characters, incidents, locations, dialogue, and names are fictionalized for the purposes of dramatization. This is what this case is all about, not about winning or about any financial restitution, but about my reputation and that of my colleagues, she said in a statement, quote, it was about setting the historical record straight that the villainous character invented by the defendants and portrayed on screen was not me. Amazing. It's fascinating, right? Let us not forget about the main thing. So she was top of the Manhattan sex crimes prosecutor. She was top prosecutor in 1989 when 5 teenagers, children, were criminally coerced, charged with attacking a jogger, all right? Central Park. Their location was not even there, none of them. They were not the culprits. Their convictions were overturned, however, in 2002. After the convicted murderer and serial rapist, Mateus Reyes confessed to the crime. Said, yeah, I did it. And gave specific details that included DNA evidence, which, by the way, there was no DNA evidence that linked the others. The DA, who became a best-selling crime author after retiring from the Manhattan DA's office, observed the boys' interrogation. She saw the manipulation, but did not personally try the case. It's not my fault, she says. She was dropped by her publisher and resigned from several boards she served on after When They See Us came out. It dramatized the events surrounding the trial. Let's go to Ava DuVernay. Remarkable woman. She directed and co-wrote the series, okay? A writer and producer of the series. They named as defendant in the defamation lawsuit. The irony of this. DuVernay said in a statement posted on X, while she still believes that the DA was responsible for the investigation and prosecution of the teens, quote, as the head of the Manhattan Sex Crimes Unit, Linda Fairstein was in the precinct for over 35 hours straight while the boys were interrogated as adults, often without parents present. She said, claiming that Fairstein knew what was happening in the interrogation rooms. DuVernay accused the former DA of not being willing to face a jury of her peers. Quote, I hope that one day she can come to terms with the part she played in this miscarriage of justice and finally accept responsibility. That's not going to happen. All right. So let's highlight the irony here. She accuses children of committing a crime they never committed. She's in charge of the office, so the prosecutors all work for who? Her. She directly, based on record, she directly witnessed 35 hours of an illegal interrogation against minors. Did absolutely nothing about it. In my opinion, violating her oath, her ethical oath to her legal profession, regardless of her prosecutorial job or not. In addition to that, she allowed the prosecution to proceed, instructed her team, allowed these individuals to go to prison for something they did not do, which also, by proxy, ensured that the person who really did it was able to do more carnage. I mean, these are violations across the board here. She then becomes a best-selling author, makes a whole bunch of money. She lives a pretty decent life, right? And then here comes a person with the power of pen. They do research, they tell a story based on truth. These young men obviously were exonerated. They were completely innocent of any wrongdoing. She then says, well, wait a minute, but I've been wronged. Me, you must restore my reputation. Ma'am, did you help restore the reputation of the Central Park Five? Jackson, thoughts here?
I think she may never fully come to terms with the part that she played, but I think it's definitely apparent that she's got to know some since the lawsuit was settled, because there's really no saving her reputation at this point. Like, what is she really, like, what difference does it make? And on that regard, she may not actually fully, again, look in the mirror and be like, I was wrong, but she may just be like, oh, I got canceled. You know what I'm saying? Like, just chuck it up to that in some form or fashion. But, at the end of the day, these young men who are now men, and one of them is now a member of New York City Council.
That's right.
They went through a lot, and unnecessarily so. And this is a story that didn't have to blow up. This isn't something that everybody needed to talk about, because people get falsely accused every day, every week. And we don't always necessarily have access to those stories, especially the further back in time you go, when we didn't have social media and stuff like that. So it's definitely good that they're free. But at the end of the day, her reputation really can't be saved. It's too late.
That's right. And for those who would like to see the interview, I interviewed Dr. Yusuf Salam, who's now a council member, a couple of years ago at the university I worked at back then. Full sit-down interview. It's on YouTube right now. He broke down his feelings about Donald Trump. At that time, Trump was president of the United States, okay? And how he felt about this man being able to elevate to the top of politics, knowing what he attempted to do to them. Fascinating interview.